Welcome to episode 2 of the Yapping Podcast. I'm your host, Rafa. Let's start yapping. So we got the NLDS kicking off this weekend. Here in Southern California, we have the Dodgers and the Padres. Dodgers will host the Padres on Saturday and Sunday. And, you know, this rivalry, for the fans, it's bigger than I thought it should be, because in reality, there's no real history behind it. If we look at the Padres, they've been to the playoff 8 times in 56 seasons. The Dodgers have been to the playoffs 10 times in the last 10 seasons, with 3 World Series appearances and winning 1 World Series. And, of course, them using the excuse that the Astros cheated in 2017. So, the Padre fans sitting here and getting all crazy and this and that. You beat the Dodgers 2 years ago, and then you didn't get to the World Series. So focus on getting to the World Series, and then from there, you can then start talking shit to the Dodger fans. But in reality, even if you win 1 World Series, the Dodgers have 6. So you will still be irrelevant, as Angel fans are irrelevant to the Dodgers. Now, if Padre fans, if you were the Giants, then you have some sort of history of actually winning something. But you guys have history of winning nothing. So we'll see probably 3 of the 10 best players in the league in this game. Manny Machado, Fernando Tatis, Mookie Betts, and, of course, the best player in the league, Shohei Ohtani. Now, it's all going to be on Ohtani's shoulders is what I kind of feel like, just because we go back to what we saw last year from the Dodgers in the playoffs with Mookie Betts and Freddie Freeman, Max Muncy, and those guys. If Mookie Betts can step up and hit 280 in this series, they can win this series. If Mookie Betts doesn't hit 280 and he's 2 for 17 or something, they're going to struggle to win this series, because Ohtani can only carry them so much. Now, for the Padres, don't overmanage the game. If there's a base open for Ohtani late in the game, give it to him. Don't pitch that man, because that man is the best thing we've seen since Barry Bonds. So don't overmanage for the Padres, and for Dave Roberts, actually fucking manage. Like, you are the most underachieving manager. Like, oh, you made it to 3 World Series. You had one of the best rosters in the league every year, literally. This year, the Dodgers, of course, have a ton of pitching injuries. Glasnow, Buehler is not what he once was. Kershaw, even though he's an older guy, they have a ton of injuries, no depth at pitching. It'll be tough for Dave Roberts to overcome. And we can never say, oh, he did a hell of a job managing this team. No, because he's always given a roster that you can throw out there and they can win a game 8-9-8, 8-7, 10-9, because the roster is built for that. So we'll see how this series goes. I think the Padres can win it. I think the Padres should win it. You have better arms, you got the better bullpen, and your lineup is deeper from top to bottom. So Dodger fans, let's hold off to the excuses. Oh, we didn't have any pitching, this, that. We know you didn't have any pitching. But you also have a, whatever it is, $250 million payroll or whatever it is, and you keep underachieving. If the Dodgers lose, does Dave Roberts get fired? My buddy says yes. I tend to agree with him. But if we look at the history of the Dodgers, they won't fire the guy. He's done 2022, he could have been fired. Last year, he could have been fired. He's underachieved every year with the exception of 2020, and that's because he found a worse manager in the World Series than him. So at the end of the day, enjoy the series, because you're going to see great baseball, amazing athletes out there, and enjoy the weekend, Dodger fans. Try not to fight and beat the shit out of any Padre fans at Chavez Ravine, because we don't need that crap. So enjoy the series. Padres in 4 is my prediction.
All right, guys, we're going to take a short break. But if you like our content, please make sure you subscribe on YouTube. Check us out on all our social platforms and anywhere you can find your podcast.
So we'll stick around with the LA fan base, which is always the Las Vegas Raider fan base for the most part. Raider fans are yapping and yapping and yapping about Davante Adams. Is he coming? Is he going? Some want him gone. Some want him to stay. We all know he should be gone. And for me, I've said he should have been gone a year ago, because he's sitting there just wasted. There's no quarterback to throw him the ball, and you're literally wasting one of the 5 best receivers of the last 10 years, if not top 3 best receivers of the last 10 years. So there's a lot of hype going on. Oh, does Davante go to the Jets? Does he go to the Saints? Because those were his quarterbacks. Well, in reality, Derek Carr wasn't any better. He lost his job while Davante was his receiver. Davante did a hell of a job that year. He had a hell of a season. But his quarterback lost his job. So not even Davante could save him from his job at the Raiders. So does New Orleans have the money? Do they have the assets? Do they want to make the trade? Probably not. Should the Jets make the trade? In my opinion, the Jets shouldn't make the trade. They have a number one receiver. They don't have an O-line. Last week they lost to the Broncos, and they literally could not block that Broncos defensive line. The receiver wasn't the problem. The problem was Aaron Rodgers is too smart for that offensive line. Like the cadence, they were lost. I mean, he was snapping the ball. Guys weren't even, it was a shit show. So the Jets should make that trade. But the Raiders have this delusion. Raider fans, not all, but a handful, have this delusional thing that the Jets are going to give them a first-round pick. We all know now the Raiders are asking for at least a second-round pick for a 32-year-old receiver by Christmas Day. The man will be 32 on Christmas Eve. He's still, in my opinion, a top 5 receiver in the league. But if you're the Jets and you're at 2-2, would you go out and get a receiver, or would you go out and get a lineman? Would you go out and get something? That'll soon to be told what's going to happen with Davante. In my opinion, Davante should go to the Bills or somebody else that can make a move where he can actually go and win and make a difference. He'll make a difference in the Jets. He'll make a difference on any team he goes to. The difference is you're going to go out and spend a second-round pick, probably more than likely, on a guy who's not going to win you a Super Bowl because you're still far away. The Jets with Davante Adams don't instantly become a Super Bowl contender. They cannot block. The Saints don't instantly become a Super Bowl contender because their quarterback is Derek Carr. The Bills, all they need is a receiver. Not Stephon Diggs crying on the sideline. They need an actual receiver. So Davante Adams to the Bills or even the Ravens. The Ravens have capital. They can give up a second-round pick. They can give up a second, a third, Jason Bateman, whatever you want, and help Lamar out. But Davante Adams to the Jets should not happen. And if it does happen, it's not going to help you Jets fans. You might get excited and you might win 10 games, but when the playoffs start, you can't block for your quarterback. You're not beating anybody in the playoffs. All right, guys. So every week from here on out, I'm going to give you my playoff prediction. And so my college football playoff prediction. And we're going to go based on the bracket. So I'm going to give you, and now it's keep in mind while you guys are watching this video, be like, this guy's an idiot. How's that team number 4? Well, the 4 conference champions end up in the 1, 2, 3, 4 spots. So you have the Big 12, the ACC, the Big 10, and the SEC, of course. So I'm going to give you, and I'm going to start from number 12. My opinion, and we're putting them on, it's the first week. It's October 3rd. So we actually have a month. We have 32 days or 33 days until the actual playoff, first playoff bracket comes out. So at number 12, non-Big 4 conference, we're going to call it. They call it Power 5. I'm calling it non-Big 4. I'm going to put in the Navy midshipmen at the number 12 in the final playoff spot. At number 11, and by the way, Navy to get there has to beat Air Force this week. You got obviously Army, Navy, and then they have to beat Notre Dame. And I think Navy will get there and be undefeated and take that number 12 spot in the playoffs. Number 11, I'm going to go with the USC Trojans. Out of the Big 10, I think USC at Miller Moss looks great, except for the first half against Michigan. But I will have USC at number 11. I will have the Michigan Wolverines at number 10. It's early. They have Washington this week on the road. They're underdogs. But it's an early playoff prediction, and it's to piss most of you guys off. So Michigan at number 10. At number 9, I will have the Tennessee Volunteers, and that's my first SEC team here. And I'm sure a lot of you guys who know me, an SEC homer. So it's mixed on the rest of the way up. So at number 8, I have what it's kind of my favorite team in the Big Ten outside of Ohio State. I'm going to put Penn State at number 8. Always an underachieving team when they get to Ohio State and Michigan. This year, I think they should be able to beat Michigan. but definitely not Ohio State. But give me Penn State at number 8. Number 7, taking Ole Miss and Lane Kiffin's squad. They had a bad loss last week at Kentucky. They got South Carolina this week. They got a chance to only improve on that. At number 6, the Oregon Ducks. Dylan Gabriel, early Heisman favorite. I thought he was going to be a Heisman back in April. He's faded quick. I also did think Cam Ward was going to be the Heisman when the season started, at least early Heisman. So Oregon at number 6. The team I think is going to be undefeated until the SEC title game is the Texas Longhorns. They will be at number 5. I think they will be the best team to not have a championship, to not win a conference championship. So I think they lose in the SEC title game. That is at number 5. And by the way, if you've looked at my list so far, I don't have Georgia in here. So Georgia is currently out of my top 12, which is shocking, but it's early. It's October 3rd. We'll wait until they win another game before we get them back in here. At number 4, my Big 12 winner, the Arizona Wildcats. I think McMillan is a phenomenal top 5 receiver. He's a top 5 player in the draft, in my opinion. I think he's the best receiver in the draft. And Arizona, although I don't like their defense, Big 12, Utah, Cam Rising's hurt. Colorado, I throw them to the side. We'll see how that goes. And so as of right now, Arizona, I think, will win the Big 12. Number 3, the ACC winner, the Miami Hurricanes. Cam Ward's looked phenomenal with the exception of last week against Virginia Tech at home. Refs helped them out a little bit, or they didn't, whatever. I like Miami, so don't get all butthurt about it. At number 2, Alabama Crimson Tide. Jalen Milroe probably going to win the Heisman, early favorite. He's the favorite today on October 3rd. Jalen Milroe is the favorite. I think Alabama will be the number 2 seed. And the number 1 seed, in my opinion, the winner of the Big Ten, the Ohio State Buckeyes. I think Ohio State is the best roster in the country. I think they were going to get it together, and they still have Oregon. They got Michigan. I think they got Penn State as well. Those will all be big games, and if they win all those games, it is their playoff spot to lose. And I think they will be number 1. So that is my early October 3rd college football playoff prediction. We'll do this every week. This will change every week, and you guys can shit on me in the comments. But so you understand, the top 4 teams have to win one of the Big 4 conferences. That's why Arizona is number 4. I don't think they're the 4th best team in the country. I think there's 15 teams better than them at least right now. But unfortunately, there's only 12 spots. And so that's my prediction. Shit on me all you want, but that's what we're doing. All right, guys. So on Tuesday, we had the vice presidential debate, and I watched very little of it because there are certain things that I can't stand from the Republican Party that just pisses me off. I mean, when Tim Walz he's standing up there and he says, well, you know, Trump lost 10 million jobs. Like, does a Republican never respond with, it was COVID and all the Democrat fucking cities shut everything down with the exception of fucking Walmarts and Costco's? There were no jobs because nobody was open. So why is that not a response? What was it pre-COVID? What were the numbers pre-COVID? And then, oh no, because Biden created all these jobs. No, Biden didn't create shit. Biden, the only thing was that everyone now opened in the middle of 2021 or the first quarter of 2021 or whatever it was. So then the jobs started coming back. He didn't create them. Why do the Republicans never answer with that? Like, they just take so much shit, and it's like, defend yourselves from just shit that's common sense that every motherfucker knows. Like, literally. And you guys are just tend to never defend yourself. The other thing, Walt says, oh, well, you know, after football practice, I used to have a shotgun in my car, because I guess he used to go hunting or whatever. But he says it's a different time. It's a different time now. The difference is that back then, when Waltz was a young kid, you were a fucking lunatic. They'd put you in the loony bin. And you can tell right away. Now we got to take fucking little Jimmy and little Carter and fucking Bradley to the therapist, so the therapist can now steal money and tell them whatever the fuck it is, because their parents let them do whatever the fuck they want, which is why they end up shooting up a goddamn school or killing themselves or chopping off their dicks. That's the problem. All those fucking lunatics, Waltz, when you were fucking playing high school football and running around high school, those lunatics were already in the loony bin, buddy. Those were already put away. And now we don't do that shit. So now, there's a mental health issue in this country and nobody gives a fuck about it. Like, I hate the whole gun laws bullshit. Oh no, because the gun law, and every time there's a shooting, like, I don't know the exact numbers, but if I probably can look it up real quick. What are the amount of stabbings in LA County, on the metro, on the street block? Valet Parker the other day in Hollywood got his ass whooped by a fucking homeless guy. And it took probably the news 2 days to actually say it was a homeless dude. Like, nobody goes and just beats the shit out of some random guy. No normal person does it. So 99%, it was a fucking homeless dude. And it took you 2 days, because he beat the shit out of somebody else down the street and he stabbed another person and blah, blah, blah. It was 100% a fucking homeless. But you guys can't say that because the homeless issue in LA, we can't talk about it. Yet the mayor figured there's $50 million for homelessness that just disappeared. Like, all that shit, those are mental issues. Now, when there's a school shooting, we got to ban guns. We got to ban guns. You know what else is banned in this country? Fucking crack and coke and meth. And people still use it. On a daily basis, they're injecting themselves on the street of San Francisco, on the streets of LA, in the streets of Chicago, and certain parts of Miami, and certain parts of New York City, and certain parts of all major cities in this country. And all that shit is illegal. All of it is banned. It is banned. So you want to ban guns? They're still going to get them. A motherfucker who wants to commit a crime, to use a drug, or to get a gun, they're going to get it no matter what. Oh, this guy can't have a gun. When you see it, you know what? He just shot a cop. Oh, but he shouldn't have had a gun. Of course he shouldn't have had one. He didn't just walk into a store and buy it. He got it somewhere. So you can put up all the laws you want to put up. The people who actually own guns, like myself and a handful of my friends, we're not out there going and fucking shooting people. That's not us. The motherfuckers that are shooting kids up at schools, those are kids that are sick, that you've sent 100 times to a therapist to fix the problem when you didn't beat their ass, because you can't beat their ass, because you can't offend them. Okay, and you can't crowd their space, and I need my safe space and all the bullshit. Those kids, 40, 50 years ago, they would have been in a fucking loony bin. So we wouldn't have had that issue. So fix mental health before you fix the gun problem that we have in this country. There is no gun problem. There's a drug problem, an immigration problem, a fucking problem with boys who think they're girls, okay, and want to go into kids' bathrooms. And you guys say like that, you guys like believe like, oh, Republicans just make that shit up. Dude, we're not making that shit up. Do you not see it? You can be okay with it. I'm not okay with it, because if you're a man and you are now a woman and you've transitioned, but you still got a dick, okay, you should, even if you don't have a dick anymore, you should not be going in to a girl's bathroom with little kids there. You shouldn't be allowed around fucking parks. Put it that way. You shouldn't be allowed around parks or schools, because you're fucked up in the head, whether you want to admit it or not. My opinion, you're fucked up. That's just bottom line. And then this whole abortion thing. How many times does Donald Trump and J.D. Vance need to repeat that the abortion is up to the state? If you live in a state and then, why does Jennifer need to drive 600 miles to get an abortion? Well, Jennifer, if you were raped, your state will allow you to get an abortion. And they'll allow you to get an abortion up to XYZ amount of weeks. Not all states, but if you live in a state where they don't allow abortion, then go drive to another state. That's not a big problem. And for me, the Republicans should just say, fuck it. You want to have an abortion? Fuck it. Have an abortion. Fuck them. That's it. Because when we're looking at everything, every bullshit excuse is, well, women's rights. Listen, when it comes to push and shove, women, a woman's not going to do that job. A woman's not going to do that. Well, but you want all the bullshit, you want it, but you're not going to go and change a tire? When you get a flat tire, who do you call? AAA, your husband, your boyfriend, your brother. You don't call your sister. You're not calling your mom to come change your fucking flat tire. So at the end of the day, women's rights, you've never lost any. Republicans, let them abort whatever the fuck they want. Tell them they can do it. Just tell them, fuck it. If that's going to get all those idiots to vote the correct way so we can fix the economy, let them kill their babies. That's their fucking problem. That regret will sit there 10 years down the line when now they can't have any more kids and they're 36, 37 years old hanging around with a cat in their house. And that's an actual fucking thing. 100%. Find a woman with a cat, probably, she ain't fucking. I wanted to get in real quick. I just wanted to get into real quick the mayor of New York, Eric Adams, he was indicted last week for, taking money from, Turkish prime minister, president, whatever, taking money from here and from there. And this indictment comes to light, not very long after he made it a point to kind of let Biden and Harris know these immigrants are getting out of hand. He said New York's basically done. Now all of a sudden there's an indictment. Why is the media not covering this indictment? Are they not going to chase the paper trail to actually put two and two together and tell us that the reason that they're indicting him now is because he let them know that Biden and Harris's immigration plan is actual shit and he put it out there? Because, they keep going away from that. Biden and Harris keep going away from the immigrant problem it's not even there. And Eric Adams bringing it to light a little bit from the most populated city in the country, and we're not talking about it. New York City's mayor, and we're not going to talk about it anywhere. I don't see it at all. The man's going to be indicted. He's already been indicted. There's more charges possibly coming, and it's just not out there. Why is it not out there? Because they don't want to hear him defend himself. And his theory is that he let Biden and Harris know that the immigration problem in New York can't keep happening. And all of a sudden, this comes to light. And now we just kind of push it under the rug and it's gone.
If you like our content, please make sure you subscribe on YouTube. Check us out on all our social platforms and anywhere you can find your podcasts.